Thank you. I think the notion of reinvention is one that we've all dealt with over the course of our careers, and it's scary.
It is scary.
It's scary. It's difficult. How do you best do it? I mean, Dustee, you made the switch from Washington to Target. You know, that's not lateral. How do you reinvent in that way?
Yes, Target is much shinier and happier than Washington, D.C., to say the least. You know, I have always had people in my life who thought that I could do more than I thought I could. And so they always sort of pushed me, kicked me, shoved me into the deep end, and encouraged me to learn to swim. And two of those women are sitting on this panel, Cathie Black and Debra Shriver, and Liz Kaplow is another of those women. So I've been really fortunate to have people who are direct and honest and tell me and have believed that I could do lots of different things. But I would say part of it's knowing who you are, because who I am doesn't change. What I bring to the role in terms of who I am and how I face adversity and how I face challenges doesn't change. I continue to grow in every single role. But I would say part of it as well is learning the organization and adapting your style to what that organization needs at that time. So when I was in Washington, D.C., I was supporting a senator and then a president. You know, you don't get, in terms of media relations, you don't get at a higher level than that. And that was incredible. But then I went to Target, and it was a brand, and I had to learn, what did this organization need, and how do I bring what I do best to this group? And you know, it was a journey. I got a really good piece of advice that I'd love to share just early on, and that was from my dad, who had done a lot of different businesses, and he said, Dustee, when you go into an organization, you've got a fresh pair of eyes. And so when you're new, you see things that you're not going to see a year from now. Write everything down, because you cannot possibly implement all those changes in that instant. You can't possibly implement them in 3 weeks, because you'll get organ rejection from the organization. But what you don't want to do is lose that fresh pair of eyes. And so I did, and you know, that journal that I kept my first 6 months at Target, I go back to constantly. And I look at some of those ideas, and we're in the process 3.5 years later of implementing some of them, and others wouldn't have worked. And so I saved myself the trouble of going down a path that would have been wrong for the organization, simply because I waited, observed, and made sure that I was doing the right thing for the organization.